Behind the scenes, however, the social networking giant provided direct approval and internal protection to the US military's network of social media accounts and online personas, whitelisting a batch of accounts at the request of the government. The Pentagon has used this network, which includes US government-generated news portals and memes, in an effort to shape opinion in Yemen, Syria, Iraq, Kuwait, and beyond.
The report reveals that U.S. Central Command reached out to Twitter for its help in amplifying certain accounts that they had set up to spread pro-U.S. messaging. Now, we understand that many of the U.S. military accounts were detected by Twitter, but yet they were not removed. As late as 2020, maybe even earlier on many accounts, they were detected as being fake accounts, as not actually representing individuals, but being part of a bot operation. But Twitter did not suspend them until 2022. Furthermore, these accounts were specifically emphasizing support for U.S. drone strikes, saying that U.S. drones were very accurate and that civilians were not being killed. Also emphasizing messages that were hostile to the Islamic Republic of Iran. Now, the Pentagon and Twitter knew this was happening, and they were looking for ways that they would not expose these Department of Defense accounts as being the bots and essentially misinformation accounts that they were.
I have some significant concerns that the motivations for classifications are slightly different than the ones you outlined in the email below. I think it is possible DoD is using retroactive classification to obfuscate their activity in this space, and that this may represent an overclassification to avoid embarrassment.
At one point, the Pentagon was ordered to review clandestine information warfare, and it reviewed it. Meta Public Policy confirmed back in August there were concerns about it, and Twitter very conscientiously began kicking off state acting accounts they argued were working on behalf of states and spreading disinformation. They began kicking them off of their social media platform in 2018. So it's important to remember, this is what the Twitter representatives told Congress when they testified on this matter.
Combating attempts to interfere in conversations on Twitter remains a top priority for the company, and we continue to invest heavily in our detection, disruption, and transparency efforts related to state-backed information operations. Our goal is to remove bad faith actors and to advance public understanding of these critical topics. Twitter defines state-backed information operations as coordinated platform manipulation efforts that can be attributed with a high degree of confidence to state-affiliated actors.
And what's even more interesting is that these latest Twitter file revelations only go up to 2020. They don't include after that. And who's to say that the Pentagon and the social media app have stopped engaging in this kind of behavior? And more recent data seems to confirm this kind of behavior has continued. There was recently a report from Australia in September that showed that when it came to accounts tweeting about the war in Ukraine, 80% were part of covert propaganda originating from fake bot accounts, and 90% of those accounts that were fake bot accounts that were tweeting about Ukraine were posting pro-Ukraine messages that were hostile to Russia. Here's what people have observed about the bias of the social media app.
Remember, war is a big business and not limited to just defense contractors anymore. A great Twitter Files follow-up would be a close examination of the accounts promoting the war in Ukraine.
Will there be a Twitter Files exposing Ukraine war-related censorship bot farm campaigns?
After the Twitter Files, anyone who isn't questioning whether Ukraine is actually the good guy here is an idiot. They might be, but the fact that our government is trying to guarantee we think that via PSYOP is a red flag. Believe nothing they say.
So basically, Twitter is cooperating with the U.S. Central Command to carry out foreign policy operations. So much for the myth of uncontrolled discourse and open media. It seems pretty clear that the U.S. Department of Defense and U.S. intelligence agencies have been very carefully involved in using this social media app to push their agenda, suppress certain voices while highlighting others.
This is clearly a use of a private company to control the narrative and to do psychological operations not only in the United States. Twitter has also been involved in foreign policy exploits and psychological operations. It is a very deceptive practice that the state is using a private enterprise to to conduct psychological operations abroad, influencing people in various countries, not just the United States, but in the Middle East, regarding U.S. policy. It's not surprising that we see Twitter operating this way. They were probably, in some sense, they're totally beholden to the state, and they don't care about profit. They just care about doing the bidding of the state, because that's who has their backs ultimately.